to school as a radio actor. I have a total appreciation of radio, having come up through those ranks in Canada, long after it had disappeared in the United States. But being a Canadian actor, I was in radio for a long time. And radio, you don't see it. But as filmmakers and as any dramatist knows, appealing to your imagination is far better than actually having to view it, because it's always lesser than what you can make it in your mind. So, scaroon, or ba-ba-boom, or a potch, you know, is dramatic. And you read, and then you hear it. Very dramatic, and so that I realized for the first time, there are sound effects. Like there are in radio, there are sound effects in comics. So that was my first illumination. Taken from the letter, it goes back to Lee Sullivan as the inker.
Next slide, please.
And the inker now takes black and makes it dramatic, fleshes out that anemic penciling that he had to begin with. Now it's dramatic. Now the dialogue is in there. Now the panels are there. Everything looks great, except for one thing. There's no color. We need color. And the colorist is brought in.
Next slide, please.
The colorist, in this case, Evan Skolnick. Evan Skolnick takes a multitude of colors and paints colors in the black and white inker. And he then has to be aware of the computer, which has to read the colors in order to print it. And the computer is much more archaic, much more primitive than the palette of the colorist. So not only is the colorist making an artistic decision as to what is depth and what is light, what is shadow, but he has to then indicate, the best of his ability, how the computer should print that color. And he's also handicapped by the fact that he can only give those colors, those primitive colors, basic colors, blue, green, and yellow, and of course black and the fourth. He can only give those colors in increments of 25%. He can say this is 25% yellow, 25% red. He can't go anything more or less. So the colors then are much more basic than what he has done originally. So he colors, and this I believe is the reduction of the colorist to the printed page. And here is
next slide.
Final. And here's the final
printed page.
The final page of
we lost the printed page.
We lost.
I have no idea where the printed page was. We'll blame the machine again.
So that's my understanding of how a comic is made. Comic book is made. And it is an art form that only you and now I know of. The rest of America hasn't heard it yet. We'll change a little bit of that in the time to come.
What we have right now is the cover to issue 3 of Tech World, and we can advance to the next slide. The cover of issue 4, which introduces the character of War Bride, who is very near and dear to Ron and Bill's heart. She's going to prove quite popular, we believe, and we have another upcoming original storyline plan that will involve her. And the next slide is the last part, issue number 5 of the Tech War novelization adaptation. From then on, we will be doing original stories until we do the adaptation of the Tech Lord novel. I'm getting it. And then eventually we will get to the Tech Labs, and we will do the adaptations of the novels interspersed with original stories in between, which will flesh out the entire Tech universe. Okay?
Let me talk while I think about a little more about that. In an effort to keep the continuity, we will intersperse between the novels stories that bring us to the subsequent novel, and therefore be inventing new stories. One other aspect that makes me feel good is this. I've written a letter at the end of each book, and it's heartfelt. I think the opportunity to touch your audience and to get a feedback is limited, except in the theater. Removed by television and film, it's very difficult to understand what is needed, what's desired, what's popular. In these popular media like film and comic books, one desires to draw a balance between art and commerce. You want it to be popular because you want people to read it and see it. But you want it to be good. And so I'm telling you now, and I hope to be able to say the same thing on TV, that I want feedback. Write your letters. Let me hear what you like and don't like about the comic.